Exposed, 7 spine-chilling outdoor hauntings that reveal sinister secrets of the cursed woods. Sarah stood outside the Cedarwood Forest, her heart pounding. With every gust of wind, eerie whispers danced through the towering pines, warning her of the shadows waiting just beyond sight. Rumors had always spun tales of those who vanished in these cursed woods, and though she had brushed them off as local superstitions, the sense of impending doom gripped her. Her daughter Lily fidgeted beside her, glued to her smartphone and oblivious to the dread swirling in the air. "Come on, Mom." Lily's voice drew Sarah back from the edge of her anxiety. "Can't we just go?" She was desperate to connect with her friends. Sarah took a deep breath. She had to push past her fears for Lily's sake. The camp began in early evening, the sun dipping behind the trees like a timid child. Their group, buzzing with energy, met Mr. Miller, the local guide, who welcomed them with a smile that felt too wide, too inviting. "Folks, welcome to Cedarwood. The tales I have for you will send shivers down your spine." A chill rippled through Sarah. Ignoring her fears, she watched as he spun twisted folklore of lost souls and nightmarish creatures in the heart of the woods. Laughter erupted among the children, but Sarah could only feel the weight of dread settle in her chest. Each story seemed to wrap around her like a vine, squeezing tighter. Dark shadows slithered just at the fringes of their campfire glow. As night fell, the laughter began to fade, replaced by an unease that crawled underneath Sarah's skin. A whisper here, a shadow there, tension hung palpably in the air. Later, murmurs reached her ears, catching fragments of the children's hushed discussions, tainted with fear, wrapped in adrenaline-fueled thrill. Just then, the wind howled, and everything went dark. Panic licked at Sarah's throat as the flickering lanterns winked out. The fire dimmed, casting serpentine shadows that danced maliciously along the tree-line. A cold sweat formed on her forehead. This felt wrong, deeply wrong. Was it simply a power outage or something more insidious? Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Then came the howl, raw and echoing. It reverberated through the trees, sending icy fingers of terror clawing at Sarah's spine. Her heart thundered as she locked eyes with Lily. Her daughter's face reflected a mixture of horror and bewilderment. The group's laughter evaporated, replaced by an almost suffocating silence. "Do you believe the stories now?" Sarah whispered, her voice barely breaking the tension. Shadows loomed closer, their shapes becoming more defined. Something wasn't right about Mr. Miller. Those stories were more than just campfire tales, they were warnings. Sarah's thoughts raced. What secrets did this man carry? What darkness lurked behind that friendly facade? As a chilling scream pierced the night from the depths of the forest, an unmistakable realization took hold: the gates of Cedarwood were closing, and the horrors hidden within the woods were awakening. What would they have to do to escape the sinister truths rooted deep in the soil of their quaint, forgotten town? Their night was just beginning, yet they were fated to confront the darkness lurking not only in the woods but within themselves. The scream faded into an eerie silence, leaving a void that felt almost palpable. The tension escalated, threading through the air like smoke, choking every breath. Sarah's instincts screamed at her to run. Yet she stood frozen, her eyes wide, darting to each shadow that lingered just beyond the flickering light. "Mom!" Lily's voice was trembling, laced with fear. "What was that?" "Stay close to me," Sarah whispered, panic bubbling in her chest. The other children huddled together, their faces lit by the dying fire, eyes wide with fear. Mr. Miller was no longer the jovial guide, he had transformed into something menacing, his grin twisted and unnatural. "How about a different story?" he suggested, his voice slow and deliberate. The flickering flames cast grotesque shapes on his face, making him appear otherworldly, as if he belonged to the very woods that threatened to consume them. "Please," Sarah pleaded, moving closer to Lily, protective instincts kicking in. "Let us go back to the cabins." But his laughter rang out, sharp and mocking. "You can't leave yet. The night has just begun. Each campfire holds a memory. Let me tell you about the ones that went missing." Sarah shuddered, feeling ill. She wanted to scream, to gather Lily and run, but her legs felt heavy. It was as if the darkness of the woods had seeped into her bones, holding her in place. The moon emerged from behind the clouds, revealing a twisted path leading deeper into the trees. Shadows writhed just beyond the clearing, whispers rising around the camp like a sinister chorus. "Mom, I keep hearing voices," Lily whispered, clutching her phone tightly, its dim light barely cutting through the growing blackness. "Sure," Sarah urged, glancing back at Mr. Miller, who seemed fixated on the inky shadows. "Keep your phone on. We need light." Just then, the lanterns began to flicker back to life, one by one. The fire blazed brightly again, illuminating the camp. Mr. Miller's eyes gleamed with an unsettling excitement, as if he savored their fear. "What do you see, children? Look at the trees." They want to share their secrets, but the children were too frightened to respond. Sarah's heart raced. She could feel malevolence oozing from the trees, weaving through the air and wrapping itself around her throat. The safety of the campfire felt like a thin veil against the darkness. Suddenly, a dark shape darted between the trees, quick as a flash, a fleeting glimpse that sent her heart into her throat. "Did you see that?" Sarah gasped, but her voice came out faltering. What if something worse lay beyond their sight? "I'm scared," Lily whimpered, eyes darting into the darkness. "Just focus on me," Sarah urged, squeezing her daughter's hand. "We cannot let it win." Just as the fire flickered again, illuminating the area in flashes, a loud crash sounded from the tree line, causing everyone to jump. It was followed by a low growl that vibrated through the ground beneath them. Mr. Miller's face shifted, his grin fading, replaced by tight lips and a sharp intake of breath. "Stay close." His tone snapped, and for a brief moment, the facade fell away. "Mom, what's happening?" Lily's voice shook. "Look!" a boy shouted, pointing into the darkness. Before Sarah could turn, the darkness spilled forward, rushing at them like a wave. "Run!" she screamed, grabbing Lily and bolting toward the cabins, but the night was alive, thrumming with a pulse of its own. As they sprinted, tentacles of shadow reached out, brushing against their legs, snatching at their heels. They were fleeing, but where could they go? What would they find waiting behind each cabin door? Just as they reached the first cabin, the front door creaked open, revealing a figure cloaked in shadows, a familiar face twisted with an unrecognizable smile. "Welcome, welcome, we've been waiting for you," the figure whispered, sending her world crashing down once more. What did it want? And what had they uncovered that night in Cedarwood? The figure loomed, its eyes glinting like shards of ice. Recognition flickered in Sarah's mind, but fear clouded it, twisting her thoughts. Was that really Mr. Miller? The joyless grin appeared wrong, a mask crafted from darkened wood and despair. "Get back!" she yelled, thrusting Lily behind her, instinct roaring louder than reason. The shadows around them intensified, thickening, swirling as if drawn to the figure. Sarah's heart raced, every fiber of her being screamed to flee, but a strange magnetism held her firm. "Don't you want to know what happens next?" the figure crooned, tilting its head in an unnerving manner. "Let us go." Lily burst out, her voice small, an ember against the encroaching dark Dynamar. Miller's laughter rippled through the air, and it felt like a physical blow. "Oh, sweet child, you're already ensnared." The woods trembled, an ominous murmur rising as if agreeing with the figure. Sarah shuddered. The malevolence felt tangible, wrapping around her throat like a noose, tightening with every pulse of the night. "Go back," a voice whispered from nowhere, clinging to her thoughts. "Mom, I want to go home." Lily's voice tugged at her heart, a fragile thread keeping her grounded amidst chaos. Keep moving forward. Sarah urged, the command snapping her out of the suffocating dread. Turning, she gripped Lily's hand, and they stumbled back, away from the ominous shape. The cabin doors stood silent, but a sliver of hope cracked through. A light from the nearest cabin flickered like a beacon. Over there! She cried, pointing towards it. They ran, feet pounding against the ground, agile shadows reaching for them as they dashed. Behind them, laughter danced on the air, echoing through the trees. Each second felt elongated, punctuated by their frantic breathing, a relentless drum of panic. The door swung open just as they reached it, revealing a cabin illuminated by flickering lanterns, its interior an inviting glow in a sea of dark. Sarah pushed Lily inside, urgency propelling her. They hadn't escaped yet, something was chasing them, something hungry. Lock the door. Sarah gasped, stuffing her shoulder against it, hoping to keep the darkness at bay. Lily rushed to the door, trembling hands fumbling with the heavy latch. The cabin felt alive, the wood creaked and sighed under the weight of its secrets. Shadows danced across the walls, pushing against the light as if testing its strength. Mom! Lily whispered, fear evident in her large eyes. What if it gets in? Shoo! Just breathe, Sarah said, her own heart racing. She pressed her ear against the door, listening. The low growls echoed faintly, and she could feel the vibrations shift beneath her feet. A sudden crash sent them both jumping back. The windows rattled, the shadows swirling like a living entity, clawing to annihilate the light. Panic washed over Sarah. What do we do? She whispered, terror creeping into her voice. Then, she heard it, a sinister whisper threading its way through her mind. Find what has been lost, the truth shall set you free. What? Sarah breathed, uncertain if she had imagined it. Mom, I don't like this, Lily whimpered, eyes darting nervously. Suddenly, a shadow slithered across the floorboard, elongating toward them, and Sarah's breath caught. We have to find a way out. But was there a way out? The word truth hung in the air like a death sentence. What darkness had they stirred in Cedarwood? Then, with a snap, the lights extinguished. The room plunged into pitch blackness, and the whispering grew louder, enveloping them in chaos. Something was coming, and it wasn't just waiting outside. Mom! Lily cried, her voice barely a whisper as the shadows closed in. What truth awaited them in its depths? And would they endure the uncovering of the dark secrets hidden within the haunted woods? The darkness felt alive, pulsating with a wicked energy that wrapped around Sarah and Lily like cold fingers. Heartbeats thundered in Sarah's ears, drowning out the whispers that slithered through the air. The cabin, meant to be a refuge, felt like a cage now, walls closing in, shadows twisting in corners, waiting, watching. Mom! Lily's breath hitched. The tremor in her voice sent a shockwave of dread through Sarah. What do we do? We need to find a light, Sarah whispered, her mind racing through the cabin, searching for anything that might fend off the shadows. Her fingers brushed against the cool wooden surface, and she felt the coarse texture of an old lantern. Hope surged as she fumbled for it, the very essence of their survival hanging on this flickering flame. Here. Hold this. She urged, handing it to Lily. The lantern's glass shimmered under the dim glow of the last embers of light. But even as they huddled close, the shadows pressed in, their whispers knitting a tapestry of despair. The words twisted and turned, calling out from the depths of the night, find what has been lost, seek the hidden truth. What truth? Sarah shot back, fighting against the encroaching fear, yet a chill settled deep in her bones, pushing her toward uncertainty. What does it want? The lantern flickered wildly, illuminating a narrow passage that led to a darkened room at the back of the cabin. Over there. Sarah pointed. Mom, no. It's too dark. Lily protested, her hands clenching the lantern tighter, trembling like a leaf in a storm. It's the only way, Sarah insisted, masking her own fear for Lily's sake. They could either be engulfed here or risk the darkness ahead. The choice felt terrible, weighty, but there was something vital straining to be uncovered. With hesitant steps, they edged into the passage, shadows closing in behind them. The air turned thick, sticky with anticipation as they ducked into the narrow room. Dust motes danced like lost souls in the lantern light. The walls felt steeped in whispers, secrets trapped within the wood of the aging cabin. "Do you hear that?" Lily whispered, and Sarah focused, holding her breath. The faint sound of scratching echoed from the walls, a desperate wanting that clawed at her sanity. "Shoo!" Sarah hushed, her instincts taking over. She let the lantern beam search the room. There were strange carvings etched into the wood, symbols twisting and knotting together like vines. A chill slithered through Sarah as she recognized one. It was the sigil she had seen in her grandmother's old books about the hauntings that plagued Cedarwood. "Mom, what are these?" Lily's voice quivered, drawing closer, shining the lantern toward a hollow in the wall. "They look like warnings," she replied quietly, her chest tightening. This was not just a cabin, it was a shrine of lost souls, holding more than just regret. "Wait!" Lily's voice shot through the silence as she reached into the hollow, instinct guiding her. In moments, she pulled out a small, weathered box, its lid barely hanging on. Sarah's heart raced as Lily's fingers brushed over it. The whispers intensified, reaching a fever pitch. "Open it, find the truth, no. We shouldn't tea." Sarah couldn't help but protest, feeling the trembling sorrow that radiated from the box. Was this the truth, or a deeper darkness waking within? But Lily's curiosity won over. With a hesitant flick, the lid creaked open, and inside lay a collection of small, chipped objects, each one seeming to pulse with a life of its own. Then came a bone-chilling scream that shattered the whispering silence. "Mom! Look out!" Lily screamed as shadows lunged from the corners, seizing the light, plunging them back into palpable dread. What had they unleashed? The glowing circle around them flickered, teetering on the brink of darkness. From the void came a deep, growling voice. "You found the truth, but at what cost?" The lantern's flame flickered again, and Sarah knew the next seconds would be crucial. Would they be able to uncover their way back to safety, or would the shadows take them both? The creature loomed. And something was about to shatter. What lay within those objects? What truth had they awakened? The shadows deepened, their inky tendrils swirling around Sarah and Lily like serpents ready to strike. The lantern quivered in Lily's grip, its flickering light casting eerie shapes against the walls. With each breath, Sarah felt the weight of unseen eyes watching, hungry, patient. Panic clawed at her throat, but she forced herself to stay calm. "Mom, it's getting colder." Lily whined, her teeth chattering. "I can't hold on much longer." "Just hold tight." Sarah replied, her voice trembling slightly. She took a step forward, compelled by something primal and terrifying. "We need to see what we found." Lily's frightened gaze followed her mother as they ventured deeper into the room. The box lay open on the floor, the objects scattered like forgotten dreams. "What are these things?" Lily whispered, voicing the question that burned in Sarah's mind. Sarah leaned closer to examine the array before them, a rusted key, a cracked porcelain doll's head, a brittle journal whose pages fluttered like the wings of trapped moths. Each item felt charged, alive with its own fears and buried memories. She picked up the key, feeling its chill seep into her palm. "Mom!" Lily's voice sliced through the air, panic bursting like a dam. "What's that?" Sarah followed Lily's wide-eyed stare toward the corner, where darkness writhed and twisted, taking shape. A figure was emerging, framed by the shadows, with hollow eyes that seemed to swallow the light. "Stay close," Sarah hissed, clutching the key tightly, as if it could protect them. She turned back to the objects, half willing the truth to tumble out of them, half dreading what they might reveal. Lily's trembling hand reached toward the porcelain doll's head. "What about this one? It looks sad." "No." Sarah snapped, the fear clawing again at her heart. "Don't touch it. Instantly, a spine-chilling laugh erupted from the shadows, echoing against the cabin walls. Too late, you've invited them. The voice crooned, smooth yet fraught with malice. The lantern flickered violently, and the shadows burst forth, swirling around the two of them in furious, dark spirals. The creatures within the night hissed and shrieked, a symphony of voices old and tormented that sang of loss and vengeance. You will know their pain, you will learn their truth. Sarah pressed Lily tightly against her, the small lamp barely illuminating the swirls of darkness now pressing closer, sharp claws reaching out to snatch what little light they had. I'm scared. Lily cried, her voice breaking. We're going to be okay. We just need to. But then, a jolt of electricity surged through Sarah as something icy wrapped around her wrist. She gasped, glancing down to see a shadowy hand gripping her, pulling her towards the darkness. Mom! Lily screamed, sounding small and terrified. With an instinctual wrench, Sarah twisted free, but as she turned to grab Lily, she found only a void where her daughter had been. Lily! Where are you? The panic tightened Sarah's chest, her heart racing as the shadows pulsed around her, whispering an ancient warning. You have to find her. Sarah's determination surged despite the terror. The box. There must be something there, something that could anchor her. She lunged for it but stumbled as the shadows writhed like a living thing, trying to pull her into their depths. Just then, her fingers brushed the journal. She hesitated. What secrets lay written there? A low rumble of laughter rolled through the chamber. Time is short, truth or despair. Sarah seized the journal, filled with desperation, unleashing the book's fragile pages. Each brittle turn echoed with the soft cries of lost souls, their pain seeping into the very air around her. I'll take the truth. She shouted defiantly. With that proclamation, the shadows recoiled, wincing as if struck. But the figure in the corner only laughed louder, the darkness converging with renewed ferocity. Then prepare for the price, a price that could cost you everything. The lantern flickered once more, its light trembling as Sarah's grip tightened. Would the truth be the salvation they needed, or would it plunge them deeper into horror? What have you awakened? The voice taunted, as the chaos closed in on her. The darkness tightened its hold, but before anything could reach her, Sarah understood. Letting the journal guide her, she would need to face whatever came next. But would she be strong enough to unravel the mystery behind the haunting that had come for them? In that chilling moment, she felt the floor tremble beneath her, as if the cabin itself were alive, merging with the shadows. The voices thrummed with anticipation, awaiting her next move. Lily, she murmured, I'm coming. In that same breath, she braced for the next wave of terror crashing down. What horrors lurked within the pages of the journal? Would it hold the key to saving her daughter or sealing their doom? The journal felt alive as Sarah clutched it, its pages whispering secrets right into her skin. Each rustle stirred the shadows, like tormented souls eager to be heard. She forced herself to flip through it, hoping for clarity amidst chaos. Words swam before her eyes, inked in a spidery hand, curling like vines in a graveyard. Turn back, they want revenge, beware the doll. A chill twisted in her gut. Was this warning meant for her, or had it been left for someone long gone? The atmosphere thickened, each word breathing life into the very darkness, trying to swallow her whole. Lily! She screamed again, the name laced with desperation and fear, ricocheting off the cabin walls. She felt the shadows shift, squirming restlessly. Something, an echo of her daughter's laughter, seemed faint but insistent, pulling her towards the corner where the entity lingered. Not yet, little moth, it hissed, a sickly sweet coo that made her skin crawl. You must learn first. They cannot be saved until you understand. With a surge of anger matched only by panic, Sarah thrust the journal forward. Tell me. What do you want from us? The voice softened, becoming almost playful. You have disturbed the slumber of the forgotten. Such is the fate of the curious. An icy wind swept through the room, snuffing the lantern's light momentarily. In that profound darkness, she saw fleeting images, a family with hollow eyes, their mouths twisted in screams, faces pale and twisted with grief. They were trapped in torment, a fate that might await her and Lily. Sarah stumbled back, a wave of nausea rolling over her. Her heart hammered violently. "I need to find my daughter," she cried, the sound wavering through the suffocating haze around her. "Oh, sweet Sarah. She is already part of them," the voice teased, a harsh laugh slipping through, echoing off the walls like peeling paint in a haunted house. The laughter faded into sinister whispers, each blending into the other, a chorus of mourning that filled the air. Mustering all her strength, Sarah pushed against the growing tide of despair. She cast her gaze around the room, searching for anything that resembled safety. Her eyes fell upon the porcelain doll, now unguarded, its cracked features shimmering with a malevolent glow. "Do you see?" The figure breathed, crawling closer, its form stretching within the shadows. "The doll knows more than you can imagine. She holds the key." Breathless, Sarah hesitated but recalled the urgency as Lily's voice called from beyond the veil. "Mom! Help me!" Getting past her trepidation, she inched toward the doll, her fingers trembling in fear yet driven by the need to save her child. With a sickening plop, the doll's head rolled slightly, revealing a small keyhole nestled in its neck. "What must I do?" Sarah pressed, clinging to the journal, eyes darting between the entity and the doll, caught in the tension of her decision. "Unlock it, find out who she truly is, and perhaps the path to redemption will open," the shadows encouraged with a slithering allure. Swallowing her fear, Sarah placed the key she held against the doll's neck. The moment the metal touched the hole, a sharp screech filled her ears, pulsating with the echo of 1,000 cries. The shadows writhed violently around her, clawing and reaching, as if the entire cabin convulsed with a rage awakened, then silence. In that fleeting moment, the air shifted, rancid and electric. Sarah felt an irresistible pull as the darkness rippled like water disturbed. "I will know the truth," she breathed, heart racing, adrenaline flooding her senses. With her heart clenched in fear, she turned the key. A flash of blinding light enveloped her, and the whispers roared like a tempest. In an instant, the vision shattered, revealing a vast expanse beneath the floor, and Sarah gasped as she realized what would come next. Bitterness pooled in her throat as a chilling realization washed over her. Was this the truth she sought, or merely another trap in the arms of darkness? "Lily!" She cried out once more, desperation clawing at her throat, as the shadows swirled maliciously, ready to claim another soul for their torment. But a voice echoed from the journal, clear and insistent. "Face the truth to find the light." As the key turned, a shadow uncoiled behind her, its dreadful presence growing, urging her towards the brink of a revelation that could free her daughter or doom them both once and for all. What awaited Sarah beyond the doll's riddle? The truth might be more horrific than she ever imagined. Through the blinding light, Sarah felt the ground beneath her shift. She tumbled forward into a chasm of darkness, the cabin and its oppressive presence falling away like a forgotten dream. The whispers surged around her, taunting her with fragmented memories and shattering echoes, a musical score of madness. "Welcome to the truth," a voice crooned, oddly familiar yet twisted with malice. It surrounded her like an insidious embrace, saturating her thoughts with indelible dread. As the light waned, a dim, sickly glow illuminated her surroundings. A labyrinth of trees stretched out before her, gnarled and contorted, their trunks hugging the ground like ancient sentinels guarding a graveyard. Each step she took sent chills dancing up her spine, the air heavy with the scent of decay and despair. "Lily!" she called again, emerging from the suffocating shroud of shadows. Each syllable echoed, only to be devoured by an unfathomable silence. The trees seemed to twist their branches in mockery, veiling whatever horrors lurked just outside her vision. She stumbled through the undergrowth, heart racing, each heartbeat mocking her as if trying to remind her of her vulnerability. The journal brushed against her side, buzzing with unreal energy. It felt alive, its pages whispering again. "Find the heart," it fluttered against her, words wrapping around her neck like a noose. "It will lead the way." "What heart?" she whispered, panic clawing at her throat. What do you mean? Where children play, where innocence lays, the heart beats still, the voice shimmered, echoing with longing and sorrow. Suddenly, a rustling caught her attention. She spun around, eyes wide in terror. The source revealed itself, a small group of children danced among the trees. Their laughter rang out gleeful, yet chillingly hollow. Their faces, azure and expressionless, reflected a joy unyielded by life. "Join us, Sarah." One girl beckoned, her dark hair dancing as she turned. "Come play. Come find Lily." With each step forward, the laughter turned sharp, slicing through the surrounding quiet. Fear gripped Sarah's gut. They were too still, too perfect, an eerie semblance of life enshrouded in a deeper darkness. Hollow eyes stared back at her, echoing the lost souls she felt creeping just beneath her flesh. "Help us," another child rasped. The air thrummed, the words vibrating through the trees and into Sarah's bones. "Help us find her heart, save her before it's too late." "What happened to you?" she yelled, fear demanding answers. "What are you? Where is my daughter?" The atmosphere rippled, and the children exchanged knowing glances, their smiles fading. Wisps of fog coiled around them, slowly revealing their true forms, faces twisted with despair, mouths sewn shut tight, as if silence was their only solace. "She is lost. Trapped by the darkness." They cried in unison, their voices a choking whisper in the air. "You must face the heart's keeper." Sarah's breath caught as the children's transformation sent shivers down her spine. The trees creaked unsettlingly, the branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. "What is the heart's keeper?" she gasped, catching glimpses of red eyes glowing eerily behind the trees, watching her every move. The journal quivered, the pages fluttering violently. "Find the heart," it said again, but this time infused with urgency. "And confront the keeper, only then can you save her." The laughter morphed, a chilling echo, and all at once the children faded back into the shadows. Left alone, terror gripped Sarah, ice crawling up her spine. She could feel the gaze of the forest upon her. Was there truly a chance to save Lily, or was this another trap crafted by vengeful spirits? But a flicker of movement in the tree line caught her attention. Something unfathomable, malicious watched her closely. "Run," the shadows whispered, curling around her ankles. Before it's too late, with heart racing, Sarah turned and fled deeper into the towering trees, plunging into a darkness that threatened to consume her whole. Will she face what resides in the heart of the woods, or will she be devoured by the very shadows she sought to escape? Branches whipped at Sarah's face as she ran, the darkness wrapping around her like a tightening noose. Her breath came in ragged gasps, heart pounding like a war drum in her chest. Each crack of a twig beneath her feet sent jolts of panic coursing through her, amplifying the dread clawing at her mind. She couldn't let the whispers catch her, not now. The sickly glow of the forest pulsed, bathing everything in a surreal light that distorted her sense of direction. She stumbled and fell, the ground biting into her palms. A soft giggle echoed nearby, unnaturally sweet and perfectly innocent, yet it sent a shiver down her spine. It came from behind her, beckoning and teasing, reminding her of the lost children. In desperate haste, she pushed off the earth, plastering herself against a massive tree trunk. She peered around, scanning for whatever watched her from the darkness, those predatory red eyes lurking just beyond her reach. Silence reigned, but Sarah could feel the tension thickening, a viscous fog heavy with malice. "Find the heart," the journal whispered again, its voice a taunting lullaby. Just those words sent sickening chills cascading down her spine, stirring in her a sense of urgency. But where did she even begin? What heart? Where children once played? The phrase echoed with a haunting familiarity. She remembered a small park back home, where laughter echoed in the air, the sound of a swing swaying back and forth now filled only with shadows. It was a memory shrouded in warmth, now twisted by the haunting whispers of the forest. A sharp scream pierced the silence, pulling Sarah from her thoughts. The cry was desperate and raw, laced with desperation, the unmistakable voice of her daughter. "Lily! No! She screamed, her voice swallowed by the oppressive trees. She pressed forward, adrenaline coursing through her veins, the promise of her child guiding her every step. In her frantic rush, the trees began to close in around her, their branches reaching out like skeletal hands. Some of them seemed to whisper her name, blending with the wind, calling her back, urging her to turn around. But she couldn't afford to stop. She had no choice but to push deeper into the suffocating wood. Ahead, a clearing broke into view, bathed in that eerie, sickly light. In the center, a tree stood starkly against the gloom, impossibly vibrant among its deadened brethren. The trunk pulsed, a slow rhythmic beat that resonated like a heartbeat. This had to be at the heart, but all at once, the air thickened with tension. The laughter returned, sharper now, echoing all around her. Shadows flickered at the edges of her vision, and she felt a chill wrap around her throat. Eyes upon her. Face the keeper, the journal urged, a desperate tremor threading its voice. Only then Sarah stepped closer to the tree. Something wasn't right. The laughing intensified, spiraling into a sinister cacophony, driving daggers of fear into her heart. Then a form emerged from the shadows. It was grotesque, limbs contorted and reaching, an avatar of fear. A figure draped in darkness, its face obscured, but she felt its gaze burn into her. Sarah, it whispered, a voice that was both familiar and utterly foreign. You've arrived. Will you join them or will you leave them? Sarah's blood turned to ice. Crescent smiles stretched across the faces of the children emerging from the fog, eyes like black voids eager for life. No. I'm not, she stammered, stepping back. Save her heart, or lose your own, the figure hissed, a wicked grin cracking through the darkness. What will you choose? Stumbling, Sarah turned to run back into the trees, but the laughter swelled, echoing louder than ever. Shadows surged forward in a tide, clawing at her, pulling her away from the sanctuary she thought she'd found. Which way? She screamed into the unfolding chaos, feeling despair close in. In that spine-chilling moment, she understood, to confront the keeper meant yielding to a darkness she may not escape. As she pushed back against the tide of laughter, she couldn't shake the feeling of doom wrapping around her. Was this truly the end, or just the beginning? Whatever happened next would change everything. Sarah's heart raced as the shadows reached for her, clawing at her legs, trying to drag her into the darkness that loomed beneath the twisted branches. Panic surged through her. Each step she took was met with the muffled laughter of the children, echoing in the forest like a haunting melody. Run! The command blared in her mind, drowning out the sinister giggles. She pushed forward, arm brushing against the cool bark of trees that felt alive, almost sentient, whispering secrets she didn't want to hear. The strange tree stood behind her, pulsing grotesquely, the epicenter of this dark carnival of despair. The clearing shrank behind her, swallowed by the mist that writhed and twisted, trying to claim her. Sarah pushed through, branches snagging at her clothes, leaves slapping her face like flicking fingers. Fear was a chain, heavy as iron, each breath felt like a desperate gasp of hope in the suffocation of the unknown. Lily! She screamed again, her voice a raw echo, desperate to pierce the comforting distance of the trees. Each call brought chilling responses. A cacophony of giggles and whispers danced behind her, a taunt reminding her that they were close. Then she stumbled. Her foot caught on a root, tearing her down into the damp earth. Pain radiated from her ankle as she struggled back to her feet. She could feel the laughter coiling around her, clinging to her like a second skin, urging her to stop, to surrender, and join the ghostly children with their hollow smiles. No! She cried out, scrambling forward on instinct alone. The knife edge of adrenaline surged through her veins, driving her onward. Her thoughts twisted into frantic calculations. Where was she going? Would any direction lead her to Lily? Panic took root in her stomach, spreading like ice through her chest, choking her. In the distance, she could see flickering lights. Faint and wavering like the spirits of the lost, they beckoned, illuminating a path through the seething shadows. Was it real? Hope surged and twisted in her gut, but as she sprinted towards them, the laughter grew louder, morphing into a shrieking symphony designed to unhinge her fragile sanity. She burst into a small clearing, breathless. The ground was littered with drawings, innocent scrawls that resembled her daughter's handiwork. Swing sets, sunshine, and bright flowers captured moments of idyllic childhood, now marred by something sinister. The feeling of being watched intensified, filling her with dread. "Leave them." The voice rang through the clearing, low and gravelly. The figure from before emerged, hovering at the edge of the light. "You know where they belong." The giggles turned into cries, distant yet haunting, pulling at her heartstrings, begging for her to return. "No. You don't understand." Sarah yelled, shaking her head violently, desperation clawing deeper. "I want to abandon her. Choose." The figure's laughter melded with the whispers of the trees, a cacophony merging past and present, hope and horror. "Save her heart. Save yours." In that moment, Sarah felt time fracture. The forest pulsed, the ground trembled beneath her feet. Shadows spiraled, forming grotesque shapes, each more terrible than the last. Yet, amidst it all, she caught sight of a flicker, a familiar glimpse of light, like Lily's laughter echoing in her memory, inviting her back home. Without thinking, she lunged toward the flickering lights. But with every step, the darkness lunged back, hungry for what remained of her hope. The figure screamed out again, a sound that reverberated deep in her bones. "You will lose yourself if you pursue it." She hesitated. The choice loomed before her like a haunting specter, suffocating every shred of reason. As she took a trembling step towards the light, a scream pierced the air, one that was to her daughters that it was too late to turn back. What would she sacrifice to reclaim the light and face the darkness before her? Each heartbeat thundered, as the edges of reality began to blur one last time, pulling her into a void where choices became consequences, and the truth of the keeper unraveled. A blinding flash surged from the flickering lights, illuminating the clearing, and Sarah felt as though she had breached a thin veil separating her from everything essential. A nagging fear still clawed at her, the realization that this place was not mere forest, it was alive, ever hungry for souls to replace the innocent ones trapped within. She stumbled towards the light, toward the laughter she cherished, her daughter's laughter. With every step, shadows writhed, whispering her name, threatening to pull her back. "Lily!" She called again, desperation fueling her legs as they carried her into the heart of the clearing. The gentle sway of memories wrapped around her, sunshine, park swings, joy pure like untainted laughter, and every fiber begged her to hold on, to resist the suffocating darkness behind her. She could not falter. "Mommy!" The sweet, familiar voice brushed against her senses like a balm, infusing her with renewed resolve. There. Just ahead, she saw her daughter's silhouette amidst the glow, a figure that seemed to shimmer with hope. "Lily!" Sarah propelled herself forward, arms outstretched, heart pounding, only to be met with an unyielding barrier, the ethereal light quivering as if alive. "What do I need to do?" she yelled into the depths of the shadows clawing behind. "Face the keeper," the journal whispered urgently, as if sensing her hesitation. "To find the light, you must confront your darkness." With a surge of determination driven by love, Sarah pivoted, gathering her strength as she faced the grotesque figure lingering at the fringe, darkness merging into its sharp edges, the twisted face still deceptively familiar. "You don't scare me," she shouted. The keeper erupted into throaty laughter, resonating with the fear she had felt beneath her skin. "Oh, but dear Sarah, I am the keeper of truths, of lost hearts and discarded hopes. You dare to reclaim the light." The figure advanced, shadows coiling around it like smoke. "Where is Lily?" Sarah pressed, defiance sparking in her chest. "What will it take to free her?" The keeper's voice morphed, dripping with malice. "To save her heart, you must relinquish your own. A deal struck, and you shall learn what loss truly is." Fear threatened to consume her, visions of losing herself flooding her mind. "No. I want to trade away my heart. Then you shall know pain, eternally trapped in shadows," it hissed, eyes boring into her, filling her with dread. But deep down, the lessons of despair and heartache struck chords in her. She remembered suffering, betrayal, and how, through it all, the essence of love remained intact. "No," she declared, her voice cutting through the suffocating roar of shadows. "You cannot take what you never owned. I won't trade love for darkness." A tremor ran through the ground beneath her, a fleeting moment of uncertainty rippling through the keeper. "Those who resist the call of despair are often lost in their own light," it retorted, but a flicker of doubt danced in its eyes. The giggles of children became shrill, echoing off the trees, urging her on. With a newfound resolve, Sarah pressed forward, summoning layers of courage. "I bring love. I will fight for Lily. I will not abandon her heart." This proclamation sent shockwaves through the darkness. For the first time, it felt as if the forest shifted, shadows recoiling as if the light pushed them away. Remembering the journal, she clutched it tightly. With every word scrawled upon its pages, Sarah searched within herself for strength, defiance against the darkness. "If you want a heart," she hollered through gritted teeth, "take my fears, my doubts, but not the love I have for my daughter." The keeper roared in fury as shadows whipped and flailed, coiling tighter around Sarah as if in limbo, but she pushed through. Energy heightened as the world wrapped around her, a tempest of light igniting the darkness. Then, something shifted. Before her eyes, the darkened figure quivered, shadows shimmering like oil on water, and, beneath the grotesque mask, something familiar emerged, a reflection of her own pain, longing, and fear. "Yield. Take your heart." It screamed, torn between wrath and despair. "No." Sarah cried, the magnetic pull between them snapping into clarity. "I will keep my heart, not for mere survival but because my love is stronger than your darkness." With that declaration, the ground surged. The journal opened violently in her arms, revealing a brilliant light that cascaded outward, piercing the shadows and setting her resolve aflame. The laughter faded, transformed into screams that melted like ice under the sun. The gate between light and dark shattered, the keeper's twisted form dissolving into the very shadows it commanded. The darkness pulled away from her, ebbing like a receding tide, wrapping around those forgotten remnants of lost childhood while freeing the trapped souls hidden amidst the woods. "Lily!" Sarah screamed again, searching desperately through the remnants of broken darkness. As the illumination swelled, she felt the solid warmth of her daughter's presence. The forest was changing, twisted branches stretched and bent, retreating into the earth, relinquishing what they had claimed. "I'm here, Mommy." Lily's voice glimmered like glass cutting through mist, and then there she was, stepping into the light, eyes wide with wonder. "Ooh, Mommy." Lily rushed forward, arms enveloping Sarah in a fierce grip. The world spun, and as the bright light encompassed them both, a warmth flooded every crevice of despair. Together, they stood on the threshold of exultation and relief, the echoes of laughter finally shifting from sinister to soothing. With one last glance at the woods now stirring with patches of green and life, suppressed by their own darkness, Sarah held her daughter close. "We did it," she whispered, her voice trembling with the joy of reunion and the scar of their encounter. As they stepped away from Cedarwood Forest, the haunting whispers fading into whispers of freedom, Sarah now understood the truth: they were stronger together. Shadows would always exist, but love, the undying force, would always wear the brightest light. But what is a story without a little haunting to share? If you found this journey gripping, then subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now, and feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending, and don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.